Hey guys, welcome to episode 18. Today we're going to be working on and implementing the nuclear power plant, and then we'll also be dealing with the waste through unlocking the particle enrichment. And in preparation for that, I've had to actually come through to the power plant, and you'll see the power is looking quite a lot higher than what it was before. And the reason for that is that we obviously had our diluted fuel factory that we built in episode 16. But what I've actually done is I've taken it a step further and I've built another one in order for us to get enough electricity needed for the buildings that are going to be making the nuclear power plant. So you'll see here, I've tried to focus on complete symmetry of the build. Using the knowledge from this one, I've implemented a different sort of design. So we've got the 600 oil coming from there, pumping into there. That then feeds into the generators, so you'll see that links into the, sorry, not the generators, the refineries. And those refineries are each putting out 20 rubber and 20 heavy oil residue. So in total we've got 400 heavy and 400 rubber. That then doubles back, gets pumped up here onto the second floor. This then gets fed through this octopus tubing into all the blenders, and each blender is putting out 100 fuel. So in total we've got 800 fuel coming in. That's then split between two levels of generators. So if I show you the math for that, essentially what we've got is we've got 800 fuel, and that's divided by 12, so we've got 66 generators, and that times 150 per generator is giving us 10,000 megawatts of power. So we've got actually 10,000 megawatts of power, which is exactly going to be way over what we need in order to prep the buildings for the nuclear. But just thought I'd give you guys a showcase of what we can do with the diluted as well. So I've just come off the train. I think let's go and head through to the storages and let's grab the items that we need. So we need 100 turbo, 200 core and 400 cooling. And that should have been building up over time. So let's go grab those. Then the cores, and then the cooling. Cool. And then while I was building the factory down that side for the power, I've left these off so they haven't been doing the handlings. So let's just do that. And then those can tick away on the completing the phase 4 objective. So yeah, let's go and hand in the particle enrichment. I'm excited, guys. Cores, turbo, cooling. Sweet, let's send that off. Nice.
Milestone.
Cool, so now that that's been unlocked, we've actually got the ability to process the nuclear waste with the particle accelerator. And as you can see, this is a massive building, and we're going to be needing a lot of space for this. Also, we don't want to build this on top here, for example, in our factory, just because it's going to be actually having uranium. So technically I'd like to build it a bit further away, but still close to base, that we can actually go and sort out any mishaps that might happen. So what I was thinking of doing is actually building it just down here. You'll see we've got lots of space down this way. At the bottom here, we can build the whole nuclear plant down here, which will be really cool. I think we've got lots of space to work with, which will be awesome. Then the other nice thing is that you'll see if I do a scan for the actual uranium in the area, which is this one here, you'll see it's actually pretty close by. It's on top of this tower. I don't know if you'll see it. Yeah, this one over here. It's actually the top of that building over there. So what we can, well, not building, pillar. So what we can do is we can actually build a nice platform down here, run a set of foundations from there, build it up along that pillar, and then we can send the uranium down there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to build this down here, fill up this, and then we can get started. Okay, as you can see, I've now filled up the platform. So this is going to be the platform or the foundation that's going to be bringing in the uranium. This is where we're going to be doing our nuclear, and this is where we're going to be doing the handling of the waste. And then I've just put little rails up here just for safety reasons. And then what I've also done is I've backtracked this foundation all the way back here underneath our factory. And the reason for that is we're going to build two logistics lines, one coming on this platform, one coming on this foundation, and then we're going to split them because you're going to need two sets of materials. One set of material for the waste processing and one set of materials for the actual nuclear rods. So that's what we're going to be doing now in terms of splitting that. So let me show you the sort of process, or let me take you through the process of how the nuclear waste works. So let's put down all the buildings here and let's chat about it. Okay, so let's go find our nuclear power. Okay, so the nuclear power, it takes fuel. It takes two different types of fuel. It takes uranium fuel rods and plutonium fuel rods. We don't want to use plutonium fuel rods because plutonium fuel rods produces plutonium waste, and that's an item that you cannot actually sink in the game. So we want to focus on the uranium rods, which produces uranium waste, and that we can actually process. So this is going to take uranium rods. So if we go and look at the manufacturer is the building that produces uranium rods. So if we have a look at that, we go and look for the uranium fuel rods. Remember, not the plutonium. Uranium fuel rods actually have 0.4, and this requires 0.2. So we essentially need this to run at 50% production for one nuclear power plant. Then we're going to need the encased uranium cell, which, as you can see, is made by a blender. And then these are the two items that we'll bring in our logistics layer. So if we open up this and we look at that recipe, we're also going to need uranium. And that's why we've obviously got this foundation ready up there to go and get the uranium from up top there. So essentially we need a blender now. So the blender then is going to feed in for the encased uranium cells. That's going to help this produce the uranium fuel rods. So this one now needs concrete, uranium and sulfuric acid, and that we can make no problem. So again, we're going to need a refinery, and this refinery is then going to be making sulfuric acid, and that'll pump in. So this machine puts into this machine, which puts into this machine, which puts into that machine. So this is essentially the chain that we need for the fuel to be able to burn what we need inside the nuclear power plant. Then what's going to happen is this is going to put out waste at 10 per minute, and then we're going to need to handle that. So there's two buildings that handle the waste. The first one is obviously the one that we've just unlocked for the particle accelerator. I just got to go and get mats for that, then I can continue chatting about what to do. Okay, now I'm back with the mats. Let's actually put down that particle accelerator now. And you'll see what it actually does is it produces plutonium pellets. And that accepts uranium waste. So we're going to take the uranium waste from here, from the actual nuclear power plant, and we're going to put it into the particle accelerator. Then the other thing we're going to need to do is there's another building that can actually process the waste. And you'll see if I drop down the blender here, there's a recipe for the non-fiscal uranium, and that also takes uranium waste. So we need the non-fiscal because the particle accelerator requires that as one of the items for it. So you'll see here it requires this. So between this uranium waste and this uranium waste, that's how we can dispose of it, and then it'll produce the non-fiscal that then this one then uses, and then it produces plutonium pellets. Now for the plutonium pellets, we're going to need an assembler and another manufacturer. And the reason why we need those is that you'll see this one actually can produce encased plutonium pellets. So that's going to take the plutonium pellets, put it with concrete to produce encased plutonium cells. We're then going to take this machine, produce the plutonium fuel rods from the encased plutonium cells. So essentially we have these machines on the left hand side here that are going to be helping the nuclear power plant generate rods to be burnt. Then we're going to have these sets of machines on this side that actually burns or gets rid of the uranium waste produced by the nuclear. And that's the full setup that we need. Now there's different percentages that obviously these machines have to be set to for optimum. So what I've done is I've enhanced the spreadsheet to also show the items that we need for both sets of the incoming to make the fuel rods and the outgoing to dispose of the uranium waste. Hence why we're going to use two different logistics coming into the factory. So let me take you through the spreadsheet and then we'll see what we need in terms of setting this up. Okay, so here's our sheet that we've been working on. And you'll notice at the bottom here, I've actually got a separate tab for the nuclear power. So if we just switch to here, it's the same layout as the first one. These are the items that we need, and these are the items that we'll produce. And what I've done is I've calculated all of these sources from the items that we're producing in our factory. So if we look at silica, for example, that one's linked directly to the silica source on this side over here. So that's what we got remaining. So all those formulas are all linked up. And essentially these are for the logistics for the factory, which I'll get into now. But now we can just focus on the nuclear plant. So I'll bring this down to 1. And you'll see that that actually offsets and changes all the other building's parameters. So you'll see if I change this to 2, that also then changes everything. And I've done that specifically because you can just plan how many nuclear plants you want, and then the spreadsheet will tell you what buildings you need and what clock speed they need to be set at. So we're going to be looking at 2 initially, because I like 2 because it hits a perfect 1 manufacturer. And if we go 4, it's going to need 2 manufacturers. So we're going to go for 2 nuclear power plants, and this calculates all the items that we need in terms of that. Just like what we were doing in game now, we saw that the nuclear power required fuel rods. Fuel rods required this, and this. And so essentially all of those build up to those items. So we're going to be working on the 2 sets of logistics. The logistics on the left here, like I mentioned in game, for the being able to produce the uranium rods on the nuclear power plant. Then the particle accelerator and the blender for taking the waste on the right hand side, and then these are the logistics that we need for the right hand side. So in short, in order to produce 2 nuclear plants at efficiency, and you'll see with nothing remaining, what we need to do is we need to improve our current silica production, our current uranium, and our current sulfur. So that's what we're going to go do in game now. So we need to increase those items and then be able to process what we need in terms of the nuclear plant. So let's start with the silica, and then we'll dive into getting the uranium off that cliff. And then the sulfur is already running through the factory for the batteries. We'll just go to the source and increase that. Cool, so let's head back to game and we'll start doing those. Okay, let's head through to the uranium first. So one thing I want to do is I want to be able to bring some power that side, because it's quite a mission going up that hill, and it's really nice if you got some power there, because then you can just fly as you go, and you'll see what I mean when we get there. So let's head all the way that side. I'll hit a bit of turbo and then we'll be at the other end. So now we're at the base of the cliff. We're going to build directly up here. So we're going to take a foundation and we're going to actually put it onto the 4 high one, the 4 meter, and we're going to zoop it all the way up. Sorry, vertical all the way up. And we're going to keep doing this so we get all the way through to the uranium. Okay. Let's start doing the flying. This is what I was talking about makes it a lot easier. Would help if I put on the right jetpack. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna again rinse and repeat all the way to the top. Great, we're at the top. Let's zoop across. Bring our power up. Okay, now we're going to obviously get affected by the uranium. But it's a good thing that we've got our iodized filters on us. So remember, we've got our mask. And because we've got our iodine filters, we're all good. Cool, so I won't be chipping away at this because we don't want anything in our backpacks, because that will be bad. But now we've got the ability to actually put this along here and out this way. So the only thing I want to do now is I want to link up these two here. So let's put a foundation out there, and we'll put this like here, and we'll actually create an infinite conveyor, which will be really cool. I'll show you guys that. It was suggested by one of the guys in the comments. Thanks for that, by the way. So me drop this all the way down. Yeah, well, that's a long way, guys. Okay, let's put it out here. Okay, we want another hole in the middle. Okay, now we can actually link these up. We're on 843. I'm interested to see how many conveyors this is going to use. This is the longest belt I think I've ever built. Let's have a look. Still not even close enough to put it in yet. Almost at the top. Oh, come on. Yo, this is going to be long. There you go. Okay, so now we got it hooked up. As you can see, that's the maximum. But now if we go all the way down to the bottom. Ta-da! That's going to be insane. Yo, that is insane. It's going to take a long time to build. Look at it, it's still building. Wow. How many did it use? Oh, wow. Okay. It used like 500. This is going to be insane. Okay. I suppose we can just leave that to build. And what we'll do is we'll fly up to the top and go and sort out the uranium. There you go. Now it's finished. That's crazy. Cool. So we can bring down the uranium, no problem. Suppose let's just link up the rest of the belts. I'll do that on the way this side. Yeah, that's essentially going to be our uranium, and we'll link that up to a miner later on. Next thing on the to-do list is to go and double up the production for the silica. So let's go into the factory, go to the source of the silica, and we can go and increase that. Let's see how much we're actually producing. So 33.3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's because that input is 20. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So it's just 120. So let's double this up. So this is the one that we want to follow. So it's the one on the top bracket, or the top logistics. So it's the top one that we need to beef up. So let's go to the miner. We'll increase that one from 120 to 240. And then we'll essentially double up the production on the silica side. Lucky enough, it's super close here at my base, so that's nice. Cool, so it's going to be the top one. The top one is this line over here. Okay. So it's going to be this channel down here, which is this one. Okay, so we want to increase this one from 120 to 240. I suppose what we could do is we could actually use a Mark III miner rather than the actual other one. Yeah, let's do that. Let's make a Mark III miner and then we don't have to use our shards. Cool. And then we can underclock that to 50%. Because that's going to come in now at 240. All the belts are graded. Now we can head back to the constructors and we can start doing the upgrades on that side. And we use the belts for a little bit of a turbo boost. Okay, so we got the silica ready for production. So we can go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's throw in 6 more constructors. Link these all up. Copy paste all the settings, and we're going to do the same thing for the constructors. Cool, then link them all up to the power. Then I won't forget the merges this time. I forgot the merges last time, remember? That was bad. Nice. And those are all processing now. So that's the silica chain done. Fantastic. Okay, so the uranium and silica is all done. Next thing we want to do is we want to increase the sulfur. So we currently got it producing at 22.5. Let's head over to where the miner is and then increase that from 22.5 upwards. And then I'll just have a look. I think we only need 60, but let me just consult the spreadsheet after or when we arrive there. And then I'll see how much we actually need to set it to so that we can get the right amount. Okay, and it's going to be this one on the right hand side. We've got 22.5. Okay, let's check what we need. So it turns out that we just need 30 more. So that's going to be very easy. So we'll just make this 52.5. So the 22.5 will be used for the batteries, and then the remaining 30 will be used to make the sulfuric acid. Cool, and with that all being done, I think it's time that we can actually go and get the materials that we need for the build. So I know we put down a whole lot of stuff for the nuclear there. I think I've got enough on us. So we can head directly to the platform that we were building for the nuclear, and we can actually start getting everything going there. But I suppose actually what's going to need to do is get the logistics going. So let's go through to the floor inside the factory, start looking for places where we can start sending down the items, and then I'll have a look. I think there's about 8 or 9 items we need to send down in total. I'll look at the list and the logistics on the spreadsheet, and then we can put it together there. Start sending that down through the bottom floor, because we got that sushi belt at the bottom that we can start sending things through. We're just going to have to go see if we can find space for a smart splitter at the bottom, which there's definitely going to be space at the end of the factory, yeah, so that's not a problem. But I must say, guys, the factory's looking awesome. Super stoked with how everything's turning out so far. Okay, we're at the end of the factory here. Okay, we got space over here, there, a whole lot of space here we can throw on splitters. Okay, let me go and get an inventory list of the items we need. Okay, so looking at the spreadsheet here, you'll see the sulfur, concrete, encased beam, and electromagnetic rod. Those are all the ones that are going to be used in the production of the fuel rods for the fuel plant. And then the steel beam, heat sink, iron plate, and silica are going to be used to handle the waste. And obviously we need to bring down the nitrogen that the train's bringing into the factory, so we'll bring that through as a pipe. The water will source on the actual site, and then the other thing that's going to be done is that the uraniums are already there. So I think we're going to need 2 sets of 4 conveyors, and the first set is going to be for the sulfur, concrete, encased, and electromagnetic. So let's do those first. Yes, let's go find a nice spot where we can bring down 4 sets of items. 1 maybe here, 2 there. Yeah, like that. Let's do that. So we'll have that one there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now the first one that we're going to be linking up is going to be for the sulfur. So that's the last one in the belt. So let's fly all the way up there. Okay, we'll set the right to any. Okay, so that's the sulfur linked up. Next one that we're going to be doing is going to be the concrete. So that's going to be near the bottom because that's one of the first items we made in the factory. So you can see it on this bolt here. That's great. Okay, again, right any center overflow. Let's do the center overflow actually. I forgot to do that on the sulfur one. Okay, we're going to need some more alclad, so let's go and get that sorted. After using up 500 on that one hill, that was crazy. Okay, so the concrete and the sulfur is done. The next thing on the to-do list is going to be the encased beam and the electromagnetic rod. That we can do with the smart splitter at the bottom. So let's have a look where we placed those other splitters. One there. And one this side. So we can do that. So let's put a smart splitter over here. And that can be for the electromagnetic control rod. And then this one's going to be for the steel beam. Sorry, not the steel beam, the encased beam. And I just wanted to see if I did overflow there. Yeah. Overflow there. Oh, wrong one. Overflow there. Yeah. Okay, so that's those ones all done. Next thing is to list up another 4 items for the steel beam, heatsink, iron plate, and silica. So let's do the steel beam and heatsink together. So I think that'll be a perfect flow over here for this. Okay, we'll put that here. Okay, heatsink. Next one we need is the steel beam. So let's do that there. Now which floor is the steel beam on? Be by the pipes. Those are the easiest ones to spot on the network. Which layer are they on? Yeah, there's the pipes, so this must be the steel beams over here. Let's have a look. Yep, here comes the steel beams. Okay, let's get this all linked up. Oh, that's the copper, not the steel beam. Did I go one too high? I think I went one too high. Let's see again. Okay, this one. That's better. And then this one's going to be a right any center overflow. We just need to link it. Okay, that's going to be good on that side. So then those are those 2 items. The next one we need is the iron plate and silica. Let's maybe put that on this one over here. And this one over here. I like that. Then we got those 4 in that sort of cubicle on the foundation, and then those 4 in those ones. Cool, so let's go and look for the iron plate. It's this one over there. Okay, left any center overflow. That's good for that one. Then the last one we need is just going to go through to the other side and go and get the silica. So that's going to be quite a bit higher. So let's have a look. Okay, there's our silica. We want that one to be in line with this. Okay, let's link that one up. Okay, we'll go left any center overflow. Make sure that's connected. Cool, I think that's all the 8 items that we need in terms of the actual items. And then the last thing we need to do is bring down the nitrogen gas. I'd like to maybe put it not in line with these two. I suppose that's a good spot actually. Yeah, I'm not against that. Let's do that. Let's put that on the floor here for the logistics. Okay, and then we'll link it up. Oh, that's the water. Ah, I got it wrong. Okay, I had it right the first time. Yeah, that's the nitrogen. Cool, let's link that guy up. Nice. Okay, so now we just got to go and build the logistics underneath. So let's have a look. Yeah, it might be nice to actually build a wall down this side for that pipe. I think that might actually look a whole lot nicer. So let's go on the back side of this wall and we'll build down a foundation all the way. Just got to be careful of the power story. Again, let's just run another cable here so that we can get around that little mess. Then we can traverse the map quite nicely. Cool, that's looking good. Now that I realize it, let's hook that up to here. And we'll just connect this across. It needs to be a slightly higher. Now that should be able to put in nicely. It needs to be one lower than that one. Missed it. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. I like it. Okay, let's bring down these 4. So we got those 2 on the inside of that block, those 2 on the line, and then those on the 4 corners. So let's bring this all down and then 1 across. So let's go all the way down to the bottom. Start building out our platform. We obviously want it to be in line with what we were planning on bringing across. So let's bring this across. Well, that looks good. Let's now link up all these floor holes over here, and then we can bring down with another infinity, because I don't think they're going to go all the way. Yeah, they'll go halfway. So let's link up the associated floor panels here, and then we can bring them down. Okay, so we want to build the foundation 3 high, and then we can actually level it out. Then we'll put the floor panels in those, and then we'll bring them down. And then we'll just delete these panels afterwards. So that one goes on the inside of this bracket, so it'll be on that one over there. See why it isn't hooking up. Oh, wrong one. Yeah, that's going to be that one, so that's great. And the next thing is going to be for this one over here. Yeah, that one will link up. Okay, then those two are actually on the edges. So on this one over there, this one over there. Let's actually bring them down while we do it, make it easier. Okay, so this one's going to go into this one. Okay, that's looking good. Then we need to do these four all in the inside corners of the blocks I'm standing in now. So let's do that one. Okay, so this one needs to be a little bit over. Yeah, that's all looking good. We'll see why this one's... Oh, it is bringing down stuff. Nice. Cool. Okay, let's delete this floor now. And then we'll put on all these ends. Let's actually bring it down a bit. Hey, looking good. I like it, guys. Okay, and then this... The gas needs to come down. And this one's going to be used for the second logistics layer for the processing of the waste. So that one can come on this side. And then let's set up the panels. So we're going to need 2 sets of logistics, each 4 high. Should have just zoomed those. And that's coming through there. That's looking good. Okay, now we just need to put some more to link them together. So let's see when this ends. Cool. I'm going to do the same thing for both these sides. And we'll head down that way and then, yeah, let's link them up when we get to the nuclear. Okay, that's all done. What I did notice is that the only item that's actually missing off this belt is actually the heat sink. I did notice that earlier. Let's go see why that's not actually coming down. Okay, there's actually, it's not being used, but we did place down a... okay, so we put it down on the other side. Okay, so we need to bring that across. This one's not being used for anything currently. Okay, so let's move this. And let's put that heatsink where it's supposed to be. Oh, and it's the wrong way around in terms of going up and down. Okay, so let's fix that. Okay, so let's go back down. We'll just delete this one. Make sure it is actually coming down now. Oh, does it not actually link up? Do you have to put that back, the floor plan? No, it doesn't. Okay, there you go. Now that's actually going the correct direction. Let's go back up and connect it to the smart splitter. Okay, so we want right heatsink. Cool, that'll build up over time now. Cool, let's just fix the floor holes. No holes in the floor there. Just this one. Yeah, and there come the heat sinks. Awesome. Okay, now our items are all linked together. So let's do the ones that we're going to need in this bolt, which is going to be the sulfur, the concrete, all these four in the front here. And then these all go on the right bolt, which will be perfect. Cool, so I've linked all the bolts. Everything's on the correct associated logistics line. So maybe not in the correct order when we get that side, which will change, but that's no problem. But everything's linked up. So with all the items ready, and you can see they're starting to backlog here on the logistics, let's go and get ready to link it up to the bolt. Okay, before we can link up all the logistics, let's go and see how we can lay these buildings out. So we're going to have this line and this line obviously coming from there as being the logistics. So let's delete all the buildings that we placed just for our demo. Cool. And now we can actually start playing with where we're going to lay out the factory. So I'll show you what I like to do. So we're going to be going for the 2 nuclear silos. So I like to put the 2 nuclear silos down first. Use that as the basis of where you go from there. So let's grab those. Face them that direction. Yes, we want to build halfway on the foundations that it can give us enough time to run the water through. And you'll see what I mean by that just now. So I think that's right on the edge. Let's move it over a little bit to that one there, and bring it a bit more forward. So that looks good. Yeah, that's perfect right there. Cool, I'll show you what I mean now. So I'm just going to place down the second one. Now you'll see that this panel sits directly in between these, and that's important because what we want to do is we want to come from here. We want to do this. And the reason now is because now we can come through here, put down a fluid buffer for our organization. Like this. And then we can stem all the water extractors that we need over here. So let's place down, again, go into the logistics and get the T-cross. Let's put those down. Like that. Then we can just link the extractors. I think this is enough space. Cool, same the other side. Okay, we're going to need 5 of these. And 1 more on the end here. Well, then let's just link all of those up. Well, then I will get all the buildings laid out first, and then we'll go play with all the percentages. So let's just connect everything. Cool, then we're going to need another cross in the middle here. Oh, and that's all the water connected. Now what we want to do is we actually need water for the rest of the build as well. So let's bring that through to here. We'll bring it in line with this right here. And we're going to use that water later for the other buildings too. Yeah, that's looking good and nice symmetrical. Let me bring some more power this side so we can fly. Get a nice overview of everything. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put the refinery over here, the blender over there, and then we're going to do the manufacturer over this side over here. And then we can have all those buildings that are producing for the uranium rods that are going to feed the machines. Then what we'll do is we'll take the uranium waste, feed it back up here onto the other one, and then it can go on the associated line or the other logistics line for handling the waste. Now we're ready to build the logistics for the factory. So let's take a look at the spreadsheet again, and we can go and have a look at what's required. So we can see here, this is the left hand side, which is going to be for the nuclear plant. So we need 2 pipes, one over there and one over there, and that's going to be for the sulfuric acid and the water. So we got the one ready for the water. We're then going to need C1 through 8, as you can see. So that's conveyor 1 through 8. So we need 2 water or 2 pipes and 8 logistics for the conveyors. And then on the other side, we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 pipes and 8 in terms of the logistics. So let's go and set up both those stacks so far. So I've taken the time and I've set up the stacks, and you'll see we've actually got 2 of the different ones, like I've explained. And what I've done is I've also taken the time to label it for you guys, so you can actually see exactly what comes on which platform. So if you want, you can always pause this part of the video and then you can build it out yourself. And that's what this one on the outer side looks like, and that's where we're going to process all the uranium waste. And then on the inside one, we've obviously got this that looks like that. So it's the water, sulfuric, and all those ones as well that have been labeled. So if you want to, you can just use this as a guideline rather than the spreadsheet, but you'll be able to see it in both. And what I have done is you'll see that there's certain places in the spreadsheet that the items are shared. So for example, concrete is also used not only on the side that generates the fuel rods, but also on the side that actually uses and gets rid of the uranium waste. So that's shared. Then there's a couple of other places, which is the water and the nitric acid. So that, water and the sulfuric acid. So that's all been linked up as well. So you can just use this as a guideline. What you have to do as well is just make sure that you stay within the boundaries, so that when you do extend the factory, you can always choose to extend it with a belt in between. So for example, if we come over here and we throw in another 2, which is just going to make it expandable, if we just do that, you'll see that we can just essentially replicate this going that way. Cool, so I think with that being done, let me just fix up these little holes that were created when I was doing the build. Okay, now that's all linked up. Now we can work on the inside, and I can show you how to connect all these bolts and networks. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the blender here, the refinery there, and the manufacturer here. And then essentially we could start processing the nuclear waste. In fact, we actually might start processing the nuclear waste to get it ready for actual disposal. Okay, so let's start linking it up. So first things first, we're going to need to get our blender. And we're going to have it with the back facing that way. Okay, next thing is we're going to need our refinery. Actually, we can move over the blender just a little bit more. Yeah, that looks good. Come a bit closer. Yeah, cool. Then the refinery. Okay, we want a little gap in between those two, like that. That's good. Cool, and then the last one that we need is just the manufacturer. And have that sort of right bang in the middle of the nuclear power station. Just give it enough room in the front. Yeah, that's all looking nice. Cool, so now what we want to do is we want to run some belts behind here, feeding off of there for what we need. And you'll see in this one over here, this is the one that's going to be producing the sulfuric acid. So this one's going to take sulfur and water. And then this one is going to be producing the uranium cell. So we're going to need to bring uranium concrete. So in total, we're going to bring through sulfur on the belt, uranium and concrete. So we need three stacks. So let's get that going. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, like that. This one is also going to accept the water. So let's put a little pipeline here. Can connect that up. Let's put it halfway on this. Yeah. And that's our water hooked up, which is going to be perfect. Then what we'll do is we'll also link the water to the rest of the build. So now this pipe is actually bringing all the water to everything that we need, which is going to be great. Okay, so let's get all these other ones linked up. So what I'll do is I'll do this, link that there, and we'll do this 2 up. I'm just going to bring some power so I can fly here. Just need to go a little bit higher. And I placed this bolt wrong. Okay, let's fix that. Okay, let's connect this in the right angle now. Okay, that's looking good. And the next one we'll bring down here. Tuck it in there. Okay, so the bottom one's going to be the sulfur. Then we're going to have the uranium and the concrete. Okay, so that's going to be these three bolts that we got over here. So it's going to be the first bolt for the sulfur, uranium, and concrete. So it's all three. Okay, so let's put our splitters on. And it's just going to set those left any center overflows. Do that for all of these. Cool, and then we'll just link them up. And what we could actually do is just take this bottom one and feed directly through there actually, because that'll work out nicely. That is the salt one, or is that the concrete one? Let me just check. Okay, so that's going to be the... Oh, I just put this over the labels. That doesn't help. Okay, I might have to just move these over a slight bit. Let's do that. Then I'll just copy those settings. And then delete the not needed ones. Okay, now we can put the splitters back. Again, I almost made the same mistake. That's not going to be for the right belt. Okay, it's the sulfur at the bottom. So is that the right one? I think it is. This one is the one that processes the sulfuric acid. Yeah. Okay, so that is correct. Okay, let's put that there. Connect that up. So that's going to get the sulfur going. Okay. Then this next one. Let's put it like that. And then this one doesn't matter which one we come through, but both have to go here. So let's do... what's the best way to link these? I think like this actually. Okay, that's that one linked up. Then we just need to do the next one. Cool, that's looking good. I like it. Okay, so now that's all linked up. The other thing that we have to do is we have to set power to all of these. So let's run some power through this. Where's the power cable for this one? Right here, that's good. Okay, so that's got power. We'll start feeding the items through just now. That one's got power, water and sulfur is all connected. All those settings are great. Okay, now let's go through the manufacturer. So this is going to be set to actually produce the uranium fuel. So let's get that there. And then currently that's going to be 0.4, 0.2 for both, but we'll look at the clocking now. Then we need 4 items coming in here: the encased, industrial, the electromagnetic, and the encased uranium. So let's link those ones up. Should actually put signs on the other side as well. That would be quite handy. Okay, so it's going to be the encased, so that's this belt, which is the 4th one. So it's the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th belt. So let's get all those hooked up. Okay, let's don't forget to set those overflows. Oh, I just did a normal splitter, not a conveyor. I mean a smart splitter. That doesn't help anything. Okay, let's try that again. Smart splitter this time. Okay, left any, center overflow, same thing. Cool, that's all sorted. Then we need to link the front of this machine that's going to be producing the encased uranium, the uranium fuel rod. And that's obviously going to go through to the top level, the second from the top level. That's going to be this one over here, because that's going to then feed through to the middle there, which I'll get into now. So let's put that on the list. Just want to measure how high this needs to go. So it needs to go 10, 12. Okay. It's going to be 12. Was that one? That's one too little. There you go. Okay. And then let's link this up to our merger now, because this is going to be going onto the belt. Looking good. Okay, and then this belt is running that way. Same thing with this top belt. Again, that's on the spreadsheet, but at least you can see it here. So these top 2 belts on this logistics layer feed that way. Okay, then this one goes into a smart splitter, and we're going to go right any with this one, and that's the one that we're going to link to the front over here. So let's go to the front of the nuclear, and we can start building the inlets and outlets. That's going to obviously carry the waste and feed into the machines. Okay, so in front now, we're going to need 2 sets of logistics. So let's just make sure that we line up here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this one, and this one's going to be the one that's actually going to be feeding into the machines. So let's put that there. Then this is going to actually be taking the rods into the machine. So we'll have 2 logistics set up. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so the first one's accepting, the next one's sending. That'll make sense now when you see it. Okay, so we're going to need a splitter. On the first level. Well, and then we'll need a merger on the second. Okay, let me just clean these ones up, and then we can show you here. Okay, so this belt over here is going to be splitting between this way and this way, and that's going to be taking the rods to the nuclear power stations. So we can do this and set this to none with left any, right any. Then it's going to come in the first time, go left, come in the second time, go right, rinse and repeat through those. So these are going to be the inlets, so let's connect those to their respective inputs. And this also needs left any overflow. We'll copy that, take it to this one. Okay, this is going to be right any center overflow. Then the only thing we need to do is to hook up this to its merger. Okay, and then the same thing on the other side. And that's all linked up. Now the only thing we're going to do is we're going to go over there and bring it down and then connect these two to the logistics on this side. Okay, let's put a little bracket over here to hold the belt. Okay, send the first one over, bring the other one across. Okay, so now this is going to send the fuel rods, and that one's going to take the waste. So let's put another bracket over here that will allow us to connect the second one. Cool, and that looks good. So now we're going to have the fuel rods coming in and the waste going out. The waste's then going to come onto the top of this belt. It's all getting merged this way. And as you can see, it connects over there and then goes to that way for processing. Everything looks like it's linked up here. I suppose the only thing is just check the machines. So let me just dive into the spreadsheet. We can set the percentages. Okay, so looking at the spreadsheet here, we can see we've got 2 nuclears. That's great. 1 manufacturer, blender, refinery, and we've got the 5 extractors. So the extractors need to be set to 4 at 100%, 1 at 25, refinery 60, and blender 80. Cool, so let's go and set those up. Okay, so we're going to need to have this set to 60%. The blender set to 80%. And then we need 4 water at 100 and the last one at 25%. Cool, those are all configured. Now we just got to get the things onto the belt, and then we can actually start using the nuclear, start letting it to build up the waste, and then we'll start processing. We've got enough iodine filters, so I don't mind it coming through the factory a bit. Let me just double check. Yeah, we've got iodine filters up here, so we should be good. Okay, so let's go and hook these up and see what we need. So the first things first is the water is connected. It's just got to start pumping. Sulfuric acid, let's get that linked up because that's not hooked up yet. Okay, so this machine is going to be putting out sulfuric acid, and this machine is going to be putting out sulfuric acid, so let's link these all up. Oh, that's the water. That would be bad. Yeah. Definitely not the plan I wanted. Okay, that's better. Let's do the same fix on this side. This isn't going to be for the water. It's going to be for the sulfuric. And then we need to hook up the encased uranium, actually. That would help as well. That's going to be on this bolt. And this bolt's... no, this one just below it. Okay, let's link this up. Okay, and then that in turn is going to put onto this bolt. That's going to be then sent this way to the manufacturer for processing. The manufacturer is going to grab it down, process it back. That looks good. Okay, I think we've got all the machines set up now. Ultimately, what I will do in the next episode, when we have to extend this, is we can turn this whole config into a blueprint, and this whole config into a blueprint, and also the logistics. I'm just doing it this way so that you guys can see how to build it yourselves before we get into the blueprints for it. But I must say, I think that's looking really nice. I like how it's looking. Cool, so let's get everything hooked up to the belts now, and then we can actually start getting the factory running. So I'm going to go over there, go all the way up to the top, link the miner first, start sending down the uranium, and then we can start seeing what to put on these belts. Wow, guys, just take a look at this. That's crazy. Look how long this bolt ended up being. Yes, it's just insane. Cool, I'm almost at the top. Then we can just rig up the uranium. Yo. Man, I'm so glad I love this idea about the power. It makes it so easy to traverse cliffs and things. Nice little overview of the factory here, guys. Okay, let's go place down the miner. And we only need 40, so let's just do that. So we can even use just a normal miner because we don't need much. As you can see, the iodine filter's kicked in now, so we're not getting radiation sickness. Otherwise we'd be taking damage. Okay, let's put down a miner. And the uranium's coming. Nice, guys. Pro tip as well, make sure you don't pick up uranium. Been there, seen it, died to it. And I also did see that slug. I'll go back and connect that. Okay, then we need to underclock this to 40 because we only need 40 per minute. Okay, so sod's law, we do need a faster miner because this is only an impure node. So let's just upgrade our miner rather than use a shard. Okay, we want to clock this down to 40 because that's perfect for our 2 nucleus. Oh nice, it's a purple slug as well. That's awesome. How cool does that train station look? Okay. That's all hooked up and sending down. Let's do it. Sure, skydiving. Okay, and we're back. Uranium starting to come through, which is perfect. Okay, so we're going to continue working on the logistics now. And what you'll notice is, obviously we got those items coming in, but they're going to be at different heights. Same thing for that one. So what I was thinking about doing is actually extending this platform a bit on this side. This side we can also use it. So what I was looking at doing is something along these lines where we can just increase the platform. And then what we'll do is we'll put our storage units and then we can actually stockpile just like what we're doing over here for the uranium. I might actually do that and then just delete this here, this line. And then what we can do is we can do a storage there. Let me just do this quickly because I've got uranium in my backpack now. And you'll see what I mean. So something like this. That can then go into there and then that can stockpile. And then we'll do the same thing for all the items that we're bringing through over here so that it can stockpile and we'll feed them onto the belt. I like that idea. So let's just flesh out this platform a bit. And I see we're going to have to get some more concrete, so let me go and do that. Let's finish this up. Okay, I'm going to go and get some more concrete, and we can come back down here and carry on building the storages. So we're going to need 5 in total, because there's 4 in that belt, and then 1 for the uranium. So let's link these all up. Cool. Then now it's about just taking this, feeding it off and going into those tanks. So let me sort this out for the left hand side and then I'll be back now with it all linked up. Okay, so this is what I had in mind. So both these extending here. Then we've got the storage bins on the left that are ready to collect and the storage bins on the right. And then we can actually match the heights of the belts of the logistics that we've set up. So let's go and check to see the heights that we have to match. This is the uranium. I presume that would make that the sulfur, the concrete, and the industrial, and the magnetic. So let's go and hook those all up. So starting from the back here, the uranium is already linked up. So let's do the sulfur first. Okay, so it's going to link up to this one. Okay, that's the sulfur done. That should be streaming through. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we'll do the concrete. So let's match that one up. Okay, extend the back here a bit. The next one we'll do is the industrial beams. And then the last of which is going to be the electromagnetic control rods. I think I made this one just a little bit skewed. Let's fix that. That's better. Okay, and all those should be streaming through. And then slowly, obviously, that's going to backlog. So let's check. We've got the uranium, the sulfur, concrete, industrial, and magnetic. So that's great. Now let's go and match the heights. So the first one's going to be the sulfur. Yeah, sulfur, uranium, concrete. So let's do those. So we need our merger. So it's going to be sulfur on that level. Then it'll be uranium on that level. Then concrete one higher. Okay, that should all match up. Let's check. One lower. That's looking better. Yep, that's looking nice. Okay, so we got the sulfur, uranium, and concrete. Just make sure, because don't want to get the uranium off the bolt by removing the bolts. So sulfur, uranium, concrete. Yeah, that's going to be good. Okay, so let's link these up. Okay, looking nice, guys. Okay, what's the next one? I think it's the industrial beams. So encased industrial, then the magnetic. Okay, we might need a bracket. I don't know if it's going to make it all the way there. No. Okay, so let's put one down over here. Yeah, that just makes it. Cool. Cool, and that should all be good. I love seeing it all stacked together. The plan's coming together, guys. Of course, that's feeding into all the machines. Let's go and check. Okay, so that's getting everything except for the encased. This just needs the sulfur coming through, so we'll investigate that. Okay, so these items aren't coming through yet. Let's just double check the settings. Okay, there you go. So all any overflow. The last one, any overflow. Okay, so that should be all queuing up. Okay, I don't think the uranium's linked. So I do one higher. Oh, okay. I see where we went wrong there. Let's see. Okay, so I just went one bolt lower. So I didn't actually need this one. That makes sense. Okay, then now we can bring this one in here. So let's bring this over to there. Delete that one. We can connect this. And that can go in there. Cool. Okay, so then we just have to connect this to the sulfuric acid. And that's on this pump over here. So we can bring it back there, but we can swing it in from this side. We just might need to make it more compact later on, because this produces sulfuric, but it needs sulfuric. and the refinery is obviously producing sulfuric. Just trying to think of the best way to link this. I wanted to do it on the belt over here, which we can do. Just the next one we'll have to do with a blueprint and make it sort of a bit better, because essentially everything's going to feed into that for the sulfuric when this refinery turns on and does its thing. So it just is missing water because the water pumps aren't going, so that'll fill up the sulfuric there. For now, on this side, let's link this one here as close as we can inside the boundary. Yeah, it seems like it'll be inside the boundary. That's great. Cool. And then that'll pump in the sulfuric there. Sweet, I think that's all linked up. Let's go and hook it up to power. Get some nuclear on the way, guys. Okay, and we did underclock this one to 25%. Okay, so everything's going to start getting water now. That's going to start filling up. Nice. Yeah, there it comes. Then that's going to go in here, fill up the water on both these sides. So it'll just take a while to obviously fill up there. That's also then going to pump through the water underneath here, and then in turn feed it through here, and all the machines should start going soon. So this one's starting to produce now. Looking good. The machines are underway. Okay, then this one's going to link up. It's going to produce the encased. Encased is going to go onto that belt, feed through here into this machine, give it its missing part. The uranium is then going to go onto this belt. That's going to feed back here, down there, and into both of those machines. So let's just give this time to go. So let me leave this to stabilize, and I'll come show you just now when it's all operational. Cool. So I've given the machines some time, and you can see we've actually filled up in the encased uranium cell. So our first uranium fuel rod is going to be made. So yeah, while I wait for that to fill up and the nucleus to start getting going, that'll obviously start producing waste, and that waste is going to connect onto this top belt. That's then going to loop around, and then it's going to connect onto here for our nuclear waste belt. So now we're going to have to flesh out this side to actually start doing the processing. So I think let's start working on feeding these items on the belt while we wait for that to backlog, and then I can show you how to arrange the buildings on this side. So first let's just clear these poles that we were using for flying. We'll just position them slightly differently because I need to build the buildings there. And let's pull them a bit closer to the logistics here. That looks good. Okay, so let's start working on this side. So that side of the factory is done, and that's producing the nuclear. Now we're going to work on this side of the factory to actually do the handling of the nuclear. Okay, so what I like to do is to come get the particle accelerator, and I like feeding everything off a belt that we go this way. So again, just make sure that you come inside the bounds of this one so that we can again stack it going that way. So we want this particle accelerator, the output just to be on the edge here like this. I think that'll be great. Can maybe move it a bit closer actually so it's a little bit snugger. Yeah, let's take it in there. I like it on this one. Cool, that looks good. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, then what we're going to need is we're going to need to do this side of the buildings. And if we quickly go and have a look at the spreadsheet, you'll see that this is what we need on the right. So we need an underclock particle accelerator to 20%, 2 blenders, assembler, manufacturer, and awesome sink. So let's do that now. So 2 blenders, assembler, manufacturer, awesome sink. Okay, so we're going to run a bolt down this middle over here. I think that'll be perfect. Or maybe even give it a little bit more room. We'll put it on this side over here. So let's go and get 2 blenders to start with. Where are the blenders again? Let's put it there. That looks good. Okay, so we need 2 blenders, an assembler, a manufacturer, and then an awesome sink. Actually, you know what? Let's put 1 blender this side, actually. And that'll make it a little bit more compact. And we have to anyway because of the other rods coming back that way. So let's do this again. Put down the particle. We'll put down the particle second, actually. Let's do this with the blender. Yeah. Okay, then we need the particle accelerator. Okay, let's just check the bounds here. We want them to be roughly the same. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like that. Okay, then we're going to need our assembler, our manufacturer, and then the last one is going to be the awesome sink. Oh, we're out of plates. Seriously? Okay, let me go and get some. I'll be back now. Okay, so I'm back. Let's do the awesome sink on the end. Cool. And those are all the machines that we need. So if we go and look quickly at the overclocking, it means that the particle accelerator needs to go to 20, one blender at 40, and the other blender at 20. So let's do that. So this one must be producing pellets at 20. This one must be producing at 40. And we can see that's going to produce 20, which is exactly what this machine needs then. Cool. And then this one needs to be set to 20% for nitric. The assembler needs to be set to 60. Cool. Then the manufacturer needs to be set to 80. And then last of all, the awesome sink, but that doesn't actually need anything. Okay, so let's connect all these machines to some power. I think let's go from the outside maybe. We have all the power points on the inside there. Okay, let's run it on the towards the back of the machines. So let's do it as close to these ones as we can. We'll just delete this pole. Okay, that's that side all connected. Let's delete this one, put this again in line with here. Okay, those are all connected. Now what my thinking is, we're just going to run a belt along here and then connect the items. So let's just see. This is going to produce the nitric acid, so this one's outlet needs to connect to the nitric acid one, which is going to be this one over here. Because that'll feed onto the nitric acid. So let's run the cable. Pipe, should I say? I don't think the pipe needs to go further than that. Actually, it doesn't even need to go that far. It can literally go up to here. Okay, let's put up some of the stackables. We'll do 3. Connect these up. Cool. Okay, so the bottom one's going to be obviously for the water, and the water isn't produced, but that one's used by this one. Okay, so let's connect this one to the water. And this one needs nitrogen gas. The nitrogen gas is coming on the third one. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, then this side, it's going to be the nitric acid and the sulfuric acid. So that's the second and fourth. That one went a bit skew. Okay, that's all hooked up. Nice. Okay, then let's build the logistics belt that can come out here. So let's extend this up a couple of layers. So we want to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the same thing further down here. Okay, that's on the actual inlet there. We need to come out of it, so we can't do it on that one. Unless I'd made those splitters. That would have been quite cool, actually. But I suppose we can just put the splitters there. Or I could make these all into splitters. I think that is actually a better idea, guys. Yeah, now that I see it, I think we have to do these ones as splitters. Okay, let's delete this queue, like that. We'll then make those all splitters. And then the top two need to go the opposite way. Okay, then let's correct these. At least you guys can learn from my mistake here. Okay, so now let's extend this belt. Okay, those are all linked up. Now, let's see what this one accepts. This one accepts iron plate. So that's going to be off of the lower one. This one over here. Okay, so let's hook that one up. Okay, we want it to be right any center overflow. Okay, so that's the iron, the nitrogen, and that one all hooked up. This one's going to need the plutonium and the concrete. So let's do the same thing for the plutonium. Plutonium is going to be on this one, and that's going that way. So it'll pick it up here, come on here. Yeah, so that's the top belt. Plutonium cell. Sorry, plutonium pellet. Oh, this one produces the plutonium pellet, sorry. This one produces the encased plutonium cell. It accepts the plutonium pellet, and the plutonium pellet is the second from the top one. And this is going to be the plutonium pellet. Reason why we have to be careful of this now is because we've got two different ones. We've obviously got that one now for the plutonium pellet and the fiscal waste, because we're going to be processing them as they come. So it's no problem, because we're going to use everything that we produce. Otherwise we'd get a backlog and then would choose different ones for different directions, which would not be good. But that's going to be fine for this. Okay, then we need the concrete. So that's going to be our lowest one, I think, underneath the iron. Yeah. So that's our first belt. Okay, so that's this machine all sorted. Next we need this one, which is the encased. Steel, electro, and heat. So we're going to use all 4 of these. So let's go do the encased, which is going to be right at the top. Okay, the next one is going to be steel. And the steel is this one over here. Okay, then we need the heat sinks. And the heat sink is this one. And then lastly, we need the electromagnetic. Does this one also need electromagnetic control rods? I thought only this one needed electromagnetic control rods. That's a bit of a problem, because we don't actually have a belt that's taking those electromagnetic control rods. Okay, so we'll come back and have a look at that now. Oh, this one accepts non-fiscal and uranium waste. And the uranium waste is coming up on this one, which is the 3rd from the top. Must be that one right there. Okay, that one's all done. This one then needs the non-fiscal. Non-fissile. So that's the 2nd from the top. Which we already got this one that's actually going from the 2nd from the top as well. So maybe what we can do is this. We'll do left non-fissile. Cool. So that's that machine sorted. Then this one needs also uranium waste and silica. So that's also going to be the 3rd from the top. This input. I went 1 too high. Okay, left any center overflow. And then the last one is going to be the silica. Okay, so let's go and check that one. That's going to be the 3rd belt. Okay, so the only thing that we have to make allowance for is the electromagnetic rods. I thought it was only on 1. Let me go see where I went wrong on the spreadsheet. And then I can update that so that you guys can follow that. Okay, so the electromagnetic rod is used on both sides. The used is 3.2, so it is correct. Just when I planned it on this side, I only put it on the 1 belt, so this one needs to share a belt. So let's see what we can do for that in game. So let's have a quick look. Okay, so this one, lucky enough, is a merger, so we can just delete that, put a splitter, go on the outside of this one, and then loop it across here. I think that wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, so we don't really have a choice for that, so let's put this like that. Put a splitter over here, and a merge over there. Link these up. We'll copy this. We'll go and copy the electromagnetic sign. Okay, we'll put it on that one that we've just added. Then we can take this out from this side after making this splitter and rejoining this connection. This can then come up here onto that one. Like I said, this is fairly complex, guys. Thanks for bearing with me. Okay, and then let's just set our splitter to go any overflow, because it'll stockpile anyway. Okay, and then we can extend this out this side. Again, let's just throw in another conveyor here, conveyor there, and split it out this way. Okay, set the splitter. Cool. Okay, so now we can hook up the final missing part. That one was in the manufacturer. Okay, so it's the electromagnetic rod we need to hook up. Okay, I think that's everything all sorted, guys. So what we can do is we can make a blueprint of this, that, those, or these, maybe split it up. But I think this is really looking decent, at least nice and compact. Just also bear in mind, all of these machines on this side, we can actually flesh it out quite a bit. So if we go back into the spreadsheet, you'll see that there's actually a lot we can do in terms of fleshing out the machines. If I make this 10 nuclear plants, for example, we still only need 1 accelerator, 2 blenders, 3 assemblers. So we could always essentially beef it up with what we currently have without making a particle accelerator for every 2. It's just that I like the look and sort of feel of the plant when it does look like that. But it is a little bit more of a build. But yeah, aesthetics play a big part for me as well. So I like that. But I think this is looking really nice and neat for a compact nuclear factory. And yeah, it's completely extendable. So we can always go out this way with more more nuclear, out that way with more water, out this way with this again duplicated, and we've got our whole logistics line to carry across. So the only thing we've got to do now is let's hook up the rest of the bolts. So we've done the bolts on the right, let's do the bolts on the left. Okay, so we've got our walls ready. Let's start feeding into the back of these after checking the heights. So let's plan it out. We've got beam, silica, heat sinks, and plate. Okay, so the first one's going to be the concrete that's shared. So let's just go and see why that's not coming across. There we go. That's coming across now. Okay, so we've got the concrete coming. We need the iron, silica, heatsink, beam. Because let's make this one the iron. On the silica. You know, we've already got that on the concrete. That needs to be 1 higher. That's going to be the iron. That's going to be the silica. Yep. And it's just heat sink in the beam. Again, we're going to need a little logistics stand for it. The conveyor pole. Okay, connect these up. Okay, so let's just double check again. Iron, silica, heat beam. Okay, so here's the iron. Okay, next one's going to be the silica. And that might actually interfere with these cables. Actually, it's fine. No, it's not fine. Okay, so let's plan that out a bit differently. Let's go here. Okay, that's the silica. Now we need the heat sinks. And then the last one, the beams. Let's just check all the fronts. Let's check these coming through. That's coming through. This needs to be set. Oh, what about if we connect it? There we go. Okay, so everything's coming through this side. Okay, let's just connect these. Cool, let's check. That's looking good. Concrete, iron, silica, heatsink, beam. Nice. Cool, guys. Okay, so that's going to obviously backlog on this side. Let me take a once through the factory and see if I can see anything awry. Otherwise, we'll just let it backlog. Okay, guys, so I found the problem. The problem actually is that we'd never connected the nuclear plants. So they've just been stockpiling the fuel rod, which has been good actually. I suggest you guys do that as well, because then you don't have the waste flowing through the factory. But yeah, we can definitely hook that up now. So let's go and check their connection points. Okay, so they're in the front. Cool, let's connect them up. That should be a nice boost to the power. Look at that. That is awesome. Yeah, there's another 5,000. This essentially is half of that plant that I built earlier just to come through to be able to do this. That's a nice step up. Okay, so now what that's going to do is, as you can see, it's now producing the waste. Let's follow the chain, make sure all the logistics are working nicely. So that's going through there. It's going to stockpile, then it's going to come through across this side. So that's all looking good. Let's check all these connections. Okay, this isn't getting concrete. Okay, so it's these settings have to be set. So let's do right any. So we just have to set that to again for the same center overflow. Let's copy paste all of these settings because we replaced all of those. Cool. Now the machine should start filling up on this side. I can see all the belts connected. Cool. Nitrogen gas. That's the one that we haven't connected. There she be. Okay, let's run this. Okay, so which one's the nitrogen gas? It's going to be this third one here. Cool, and then that'll pump up. There comes the nitrogen gas. Cool guys, so I'm going to let all of this run for a bit, and then we can come see the efficiency and make sure everything's working nicely. I'll be back just now. Okay guys, so I see the mistake we've made. We actually haven't put the fronts on any of these machines, so of course they're not going to link up correctly to what we need to. So let's start with this side. This one connects the plutonium pellets, and this one connects with the fissile, and I think those will both go to the same one. So that's the plutonium pellets and the fissile, so that goes to this one over here. So let's connect those to this one. Do a merger here to get these to join. And another set of 2 mergers here. Okay, and that'll go up to there, so that's perfect. And then this one splits the one, just the fissile and the pellets accordingly. Cool. Okay, so that's that side of the map done. Let's do this one. This produces the nitric, and that's already on there. So this is then cased, and the plutonium, so it's the same thing here. Those two are going to go through to this one over here. So this, in turn, needs to be a merger. So we'll switch this one out now to a merger. And then we'll do just like what we did on the other side. Okay, that's those two done. Let's do this one. Oh, that actually isn't this one. This one's just producing the nitric. Okay, let's connect this. Okay, and then the last one. Yeah, it's not liking that because that's just too close. So what we'll do is we'll just feed into the back of that one. Or we can actually feed into the back of this one, like that. That'll work. Yeah, and then now everything is hooked up. Let's just go through. That's all linked. That's all linked. And then the last thing is we're going to need the plutonium rods from this one. the plutonium fuel rod coming through. So this one needs to be set to, yeah, case plutonium. Any other will go through, yeah. And then we need to hook this up to the second from the top bolt. And then that'll go right in. And that should be it. Okay, so let's go through, check all the machines. Okay, so we can see our waste's polluting up. So let's set this overflow. That's looking good. Or bad, depending on how you look at it. Okay, so the waste is being processed into here, which is exactly what we want. So this machine's operational. Cool, and then this one's clogged up, it's then going to send the other waste into this one. And then this is going to produce fissile, which is again going to come into the belt there. So that's all good in terms of its ins and outs. And I think that's everything, guys. Okay, now I'm going to give it time, and then I'll be back with another report. Okay, so at least you guys get to see the pain that I'm going through, yeah? When I deleted that one block, I removed this layer. So I was wondering why these aren't actually getting any fuel rods. Turns out that when I replaced that belt, I didn't replace this one. So let's connect that and get those actually going again. Cool. Now it should be going. I'm loath to say I'll be back now because this is driving me crazy. Okay, let's see what happens. Hey guys, so I let the factory run for quite a while, and there's two observations that I can make. The first of which is that the nuclear power plant, these aren't running at 100% efficiency. You'll see that they just keep dipping, and that's because of the water isn't actually getting to them in time. So we'll go through that and how to fix that on both sides. And then the other thing I noticed is that the fissile, you'll see this bolt over here, clogs up because while we were waiting for the pellets to be produced from the actual particle accelerator, it was having an issue because it was still waiting for the backlog for this to be able to turn on. So what I suggest doing is let's take off this bolt here for the fissile. Let's come down here, and what we can actually do is we can put down a storage bin like this, get it in line with the current logistics. Link that up into the inlet, and then just slap on a logistics at the back and bring it up to the height that we need for the fissile. And let's change this to do left none. Okay, and then we can come through this side, slap on our new splitter. Put that with left any, center overflow. Then that'll at least have a little buffer for us. It'll use up all the materials that we are generating, but at least there'll be a buffer because essentially we've got two things coming on this belt. As you'll see here, we've got the plutonium pellet and the non-fissile, and the plutonium pellet was getting clogged. So this will stop that happening. So that's the one fix. And then the last fix is to actually make these two water refineries completely fix this one. These two go directly into that one. So it's relatively easy to change. So let's just come underneath here. We'll just go here, this side, slap on a T cross that side, slap on a T cross this side. Okay, now we just need to delete the water inlet from this side on the pipe and here. So now, this pipe that's going directly through to the middle of the factory is going to be exclusively run by this one, which only needs 30. So let's delete these inputs on this side and this side. And then we'll link these up like this. Cool, and that's going to look all good now. So now what's happening is this one's pumping it at 120 and this one's pumping it at 120. Both of these are filling up this water that goes through directly to this. So this has 240 specifically for it. So what was happening before was when it was sharing, it was slushing between both of these buildings. And because you'll see it uses a burst and then fills up, burst and then fills up. It was doing the same thing on both sides as well as going forward there. So now this is actually going to be 100% efficient. So now we've got the 30 running through there, and those water are going to be split nicely between those two. Cool. So now with that all being done, I know it's going to work nicely, so I can just take you around and show you the other machines, but everything's looking good. And we can also have a look at the animation for the particle accelerator. I love this animation. So cool. I suppose I should also get rid of that uranium that's in my backpack. It's busy poisoning me while I'm observing the beautifulness. Okay. That's epic. Okay, let's throw this away. There we go. Now we're not getting radiated. Cool, guys. Thanks for joining. I'll see you in the next one where we're going to focus on the nuclear pasta and doing some optimizations around the factory, looking what we can extend. But that was awesome. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.